transportation is going to pay on a sliding pay scale. All right, that sliding pay scale that we start an experienced driver at. This is the bad marker. Where's my good marker?
He's still.
Okay, it's 38 cents a mile to 47 cents per mile. Okay, there's steps in between here. You got some loads where you'll get paid 40 cents per mile, and others you'll get paid 44 cents per mile. And what determines the pay per mile is going to be the length of haul on the load. Okay? So in other words, your longer lengths of haul, or for any loads that are 500 miles or more, loads between 301 and 500 pay the 40 cents. Loads that are 201 to 300 pay you 44 cents. And you got 50 miles to 200 miles would pay the 47 cents. The reason why we do that sliding scale is because night transportation, our dry side, even on our reefer side, we've never been known to be a long haul carrier. If you read the description on the K&X, you pull up K&X, look at our stock, it even says in there that we are a short to medium haul carrier. We're set up with service centers all across the country, and each service center really is responsible for their markets, for the drivers they hire within those areas, and for the performance of our company within those areas. But being that we've got these terminals kind of all over the place, we handle it more on a regional basis, it kind of shortens our length of haul on average for our trucks. You will get a mix of different types of loads, and it's important for you to understand where you're starting so that you know how all of this works. Okay? Let me kind of give you some examples though. How many miles, for my experience guys, right, how many 500-mile loads can you legally run in a day?
Well, just one.
One, right? If start to finish, you get one 500-mile load done in a day. If I got a 500-mile load that pays me 38 cents per mile, okay, you want to double check this, Ron? My math shows that at $190 for that load. My math right? It would really be 501, but we're just doing easy math here. Okay, it'd be $190, right? Well, if I can legally run one 500-mile load in a day, how many 200-mile loads can I legally run in a day?
Well, it depends whether or not you can get unloaded and reloaded. If you can run two.
2 to 3. Okay, so start to finish, 2, play it safe, right?
Yeah.
So 2 200-mile loads, okay, it's 400 miles. So we got 400 miles, but what's each load pay?
47 cents.
47 cents. Okay? Ron, what number did you come up with? It's 188 bucks.
So it's pretty close to the same.
It's pretty close to the same. Okay, that's why this sliding scale exists, is it's designed to compensate our miles. What'd you say?
288.
No.
0.47 times 288. Yeah, good one.
I know that you were kind of.
Got me second guessing here, man.
I like his better.
Yeah,
I know you do. But yeah, so the whole idea, right, is we want to compensate you for the shorter length of haul. In this type of running, you're dealing with what? More local traffic, more backing up at docks, more customer interaction, okay? Where this type of driving is what?
We're on the road.
What you got in the business for? See the country, run the miles, right? Well, here's the cool thing. Say everything runs smooth as silk, right? We said 2 to 3. Well, if I run 500 miles then, at 47 cents a mile, okay, what's that equal? 235. Okay, these are just examples, guys, because if you get 500 miles in a day on 3 different loads, you had a really good day, right? But here's my point. When I ran trucks, one of the hardest things for me to do was get a driver to understand, a driver who was refusing to load because the miles just weren't long enough, was getting them to understand that, hey, the pay is going to work out. I don't want you to be so focused on your pay that you're looking at it at every trip. A lot of times these shorter length of hauls put us in position for a longer length of haul, right? But if we're looking at it based on the miles that each load has, we're going to start refusing loads. Whose paycheck does that really start to impact? Yours, right? So at the end of the day, I'd want you to be more interested in what your actual take home is versus being so worried about your pay that you're looking at it on every trip. Okay? Because we get paid based off the loads we essentially empty out, right? We get paid the miles, but not until the load's done. In this scenario, we're running 500 miles, we got started on another load. Okay? But we're not necessarily paid on that load yet until we empty it out. So we've got the freight to support the miles. We just need you, again, to manage your time, be available, and trust that we're going to get you the miles, and the rate per mile will work itself out. Okay? It's designed to do that. I want to explain to you per diem and how our per diem program works. Because if I don't explain this to you, you're going to look at your paycheck and you're going to feel like you were lied to. Okay? So I'm telling you right here that this is where you guys are starting. Understand that this is before per diem. So let's take this example here and kind of just draw out real simple what a normal paycheck looks like. Okay? If I got paid $190, that would be my gross pay, right? Now again, just an example, I don't know what benefits you're going to have. Obviously there'd be benefit deductions or what tax bracket you're going to fall into. But for an example, let's say you fall into a 25% tax rate, okay? So our gross pay is before taxes. We got to pay our 25% in taxes, which comes to $47.50 in taxes that we pay. Okay? We subtract $47.50 from $190, and our net pay would be $142.50. Right? Is that how a normal paycheck looks? Gross minus taxes equals net?
Yeah.
Okay? Well, here's how the per diem program works. Per diem is really what it translates to is per day. It's real-time tax savings. We're not taxing your entire pay because you have additional expenses over the road. We're allowed to offer legally a per diem program that allows you to save on your taxes on a day-to-day basis. Okay? It's a lot easier to manage this way than it is to track everything as well and then go claim the per diem when you go to file your taxes in the future. So let me explain how this works. Instead of taxing your entire pay, what Knight's going to do, they're going to take this 38 cents per mile, and before we tax it, we take out 14 cents. Okay? So now what's my rate per mile?
Oh, that's cool. 14.
24 cents, right? Now I'm going to stop right here because if I don't explain this is where drivers feel like we lied to them, okay? As a company, our responsibility is to report your taxable income. So your paycheck stubs, your W-2s, this is the rate per mile that it's going to reflect. Does that make sense? So there's 4 of you guys in here. Usually 1 out of every 4 come in after they get their first check and they're upset. They said, I lied to them. Not lying to you, you're still starting here. Okay? But this is what it's going to show before per diem. Per diem comes in as a reimbursement.
Gross
We'll
pay.
go over that. Correct. So this is your gross pay. So what's 24 cents times our 500 miles?
$120.
That was good. Did you guess or did you do that in your mind?
Oh, I'm a genius.
Yeah. Lucky guess. Okay, 120 bucks. Is this taxable? We already said it was, right? So let's take our 25% out of that. What's 25% of 120?
That's harder, 45, maybe.
30.
That was a guess.
$30. We take our 120 minus our taxes. It's $90, right? Now we're not done. Okay? We're not done. Because now we got to calculate per diem. Okay? So of this 14 cents, we go back and reimburse you 12 cents per mile. We put 12 cents back in. The reason why it's 12 cents, and sometimes this is hard for people to get their hands wrapped around it, understand that per diem is really governed by the state you live in. Some states have higher limits on per diem, some have lower. There's caps on how much you can claim in each day. Well, we kind of do this blanket minus 14 plus 12 cents for everybody. That 2 cents is there to help the, it's kind of a cost share, right, between the penalties that could happen for taking out too much. But when you're dealing with taxes, who are you normally dealing with?
Government, IRS.
Government, IRS, right? So there's administrative fees, there's things along those lines. There is a cost to be on per diem. Again, full transparency, but it still works out for your benefit. What's 12 cents times 500?
600,
60 bucks.
60 bucks, yeah.
60 bucks. Now, is per diem taxable income? No, so we're not going to take 25% out of this. We take our 60 plus our 90. $150 as our net. Okay? I do this again just to illustrate an example of what it could look like, but in this example, you got a difference of $7.50 in tax savings per diem, which is per day. Make sense? Doesn't seem like a lot for one load or for one day's work, but multiply that by a week, by a month, by the year. There's some significant tax savings there for being on per diem. Even with the 2 cent cost, your net pay after per diem is more than what it would have been if you weren't on per diem. Does that make sense? Everyone clear on that? Okay. Now, per diem is an opt-out program. That means that we put everybody in per diem. Doesn't mean that per diem is good for everybody, but for the mass majority of our drivers, it is. Okay? So if you don't want to be on per diem, just come see me. There's a form to fill out and that we need to submit to payroll, and they'll take you off. Don't come and ask me if it's right for you. I'm not an accountant. I don't want to be your fiduciary. Okay? I would encourage you to talk to your accountant and really get that figured out on a personal level and then make that decision. But like I said, for the most part, it's a good benefit for our drivers. Any questions on this before I get into other pay?
You
Okay.
don't pay any taxes, no social security, no nothing.
Nothing. Taxable, non-taxable income. Okay? But again, this is what it's going to show on your paycheck stub. Okay? Because we have to show taxable income.